If we're going to work for justice, we need to have a vision of a world that could be a world of justice. And that's what Revelation gives us. Revelation means an unveiling. It's a peeling back of the curtain. And we see what God's purposes in human history are and how he will bring about justice. Revelation, we have three scenes that we focus in on. The first is from chapter 5, and that is the scene of the throne room. John is told to expect a lion who is the one that is worthy to open the scroll, to know the will, the purpose of God. Someone that can show us how God's plans work and how God's power works in human history. But when he turns around to look at the lion, he sees a lamb that was slain. This is Jesus giving his life on the cross. This is the self-giving, self-sacrificial love of God. This is how God's power works in practice. This is how God's purposes and plans are fulfilled. Not through might, not through force, not through coercion, but through self-sacrifice, through loving giving. And the first scene in Revelation that we focus in on, in the throne room, is seeing how Jesus defeats injustice by giving himself. But we also see the people of God in that scene. We see the saints giving their prayers and the prayers being poured out with bowls held in the throne room. In other words, we get to participate with Jesus in his work to bring justice. As Jesus gives his life, we play a part by praying. Our prayers are powerful and effective. The second scene is the battlefield. And in the battlefield, we see a rider on a white horse, and it's Jesus. He's dressed in a robe that's dipped in blood. And at first glance, you think, well, maybe this is Jesus having the violent victory over his enemies. But the battle hasn't even begun. This is Jesus in a blood that is his own blood, a robe that's soaked with blood that he himself has shed for us on the cross. And it's that image that we see of Jesus riding into battle, already shedding his blood, and through that winning the victory. But again, we find ourselves in this picture in Revelation, this scene in Revelation. We're the armies of heaven. We're part of that. We're riding with Jesus. We're following him into battle. And John says in Revelation chapter 19, he says that the armies of heaven following Jesus into battle they were clothed in fine white linen, clean. In other words, there's the way that we live our lives. Our characters matter. Our holiness matters. And part of the way in which we work for justice and follow Jesus into fighting for justice is through our characters, through the decisions that we made to lay down our lives, to lay down our privileges, to give up our own rights in order to serve the poor, the marginalized, those in need. We fight for justice, not just through coercion or trying to campaign, but we do so through laying down our rights, living pure, holy, righteous lives. And then the culminating scene, Revelation chapter 21, that is the heavenly city. Instead of a vision where we go and leave and go to heaven, the vision that God gives, the biblical vision, is actually heaven coming down to earth. We've had the corrupt city of Babylon, which stands for human systems of oppression and injustice. But now, instead of Babylon, we have a new heavenly city, a new Jerusalem. It's the heavenly realm coming down to where we are. And Jesus promises that he makes all things new. And this is the vision that we absolutely have to have. We have to have a vision that God will one day bring justice completely. He will overcome injustice and evil fully and finally. Wipe away every tear, that he will break the power of sin over human lives forever. There will be no more sickness, there will be no more oppression, there will be no more human trafficking, no more global catastrophe, no more pollution, no more hypocrisy and corruption, no more people being used, no more haves and have-nots, no more one-percenters, but all is just. Shalom finally comes down to human experience, and we dwell with Jesus. So in the first scene in the throne room, we pray for justice with Jesus. In the second scene on the battlefield, we fight for justice with Jesus. through lives that are righteous and holy and pure. And in this final scene, we reign with Jesus. In a world that is made complete and whole, shalom is poured out, justice is fulfilled, and we get to reign with Jesus forever and forever. And this is our vision. This motivates us, this encourages us, and this enables us to work right now, to sacrifice right now, because we've seen what God is going to do in the future.